Hey there, I'm Andrea Olson with Go Diaper Free, back again for another episode of the Go Diaper Free podcast. I'm going to record episode 69. You can check out the podcast on iTunes just by looking me up there. Today, this is Montessori-inspired EC and the natural laws of development. Enjoy. Here we go. Showtime. Welcome to the Go Diaper Free podcast, where we're all about helping you potty your baby as early as birth. I'm your host, Andrea Olson, author and mom of 5 EC babies. This is episode 69, Montessori-inspired EC and the natural laws of development. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being back with me this week after last week's rant, which I hope you enjoyed. Today, we're going to talk about what happens during fetal formation to prepare our babies for what we end up doing when they're born with their waist. This and the next 3 episodes is all inspired by Merry Hadden's article, Toilet Training versus Toilet Learning. She is a Montessori educator. We're going to spend a few weeks learning from her and her report. You can check that out over at godiaperfree.com/69 if you're curious to see it all. We'll also link to anything mentioned in today's podcast over on that website, on that webpage. Okay, this 4-part series starts today with the natural laws of development. So first of all, in Montessori and from the Montessori perspective, which if you don't know this about me, I am not full-blown 100% Montessori anything. It's part of my parenting tool set. And I definitely feel like Montessori in my home has helped my kids to be able to play independently, to feel a lot of self-esteem and security, and to really learn and develop at a nice, developmentally appropriate pace. I love Montessori stuff. I'll link to a book that I used to start Montessori in my own home in the show notes as well. So this is from Mary's article. Montessori perspective is that we do not teach. We observe what it is our babies need to accomplish. We analyze the best way to offer assistance, and then we offer assistance with the purpose of aiding life. And we aid their life through indirect and direct participation. I think that's a beautifully put thing. EC is based on natural laws of development. We can study anatomy and body functions and then match up the infant's cues to assist their development. So in Montessori, they really see the parent as an assistant to the child who is on this from conception. So basically, the Montessori says it's knowledge and faith that from conception, the child is in a process of self-construction based on natural laws. And that really makes sense to me, having gone through raising 5 babies, currently raising the last of those. There is definitely a pattern of self-construction. And in this book that I'll link to as well, there's a nice little timeline that shows the order of events for every baby that they go through in this construction of the self. So Mary goes on to describe that in pregnancy, the fetus prepares. And I won't get too scientific here, but basically the digestion and excretory, which is pee and poop functions, are in place by the time your amazing baby is born. And these functions, like muscle control of the neck and torso, they develop from there into their mature form. So we start off with a baby who's pretty limp, kind of flaccid, just kind of roly-poly, and this muscle control develops in this process of self-construction, and also the digestion and excretory functions develop into their full mature form during the next 12 or so months. It is all perfectly planned and so amazing. But what happens when the baby is born? Well, well-intentioned parenting takes over. And in my last rant, we've definitely been culturally molded to be a certain way once our baby is born. But biology-wise, the natural course of events have prepared the baby for something a little bit more in line with what they've already gone through. So in Carrie's report, she notes that maternal behavior is not only influenced by the surrounding culture, but also by learned behavior. And she quotes from Dr. Thomas Verney, civilization wipes out the correct impulse and attitude towards a child. So in cultures where parenting behaviors follow trends, it's important to help parents understand developmental laws that function universally, so we can assist children in their process of self-construction. So in today's episode, we're going to briefly learn about this process and how we can support it. And in the next 3, we're going to get into some nuts and bolts of what you can actually do. All right, so in Mary's article, she talks about the alimentary canal. Without getting too scientific, this is just a tube. It's the tubular passage between the mouth and the anus that everybody has. It works automatically, and it is developed in utero. We don't have to think about it, just like breathing. We don't have to think about our heart beating. This passage automatically works. Coordination of the body occurs from birth to 12 months. So Montessori educators bring this up all the time. Myelin Ization, or insulation of the axons, the neural connections in our body, connects the brain to the voluntary muscles. And it is complete when the child is standing. So they basically see it as this long developmental scientific process where all of these neural connections finally complete with the culmination of the child standing upright. And this means that full bodily control is gained by around 12 months, including full voluntary sphincter control. So sphincter control does start at birth, and it develops, and then a full conscious connection, they say, is finished at 12 months. And I would have to agree. Coincidentally, this is when Montessori schools, the younger kid schools, like preschool, put babies into cotton pants at 12 months. This is also when our grandparents stopped using diapers. I agree with this time frame. The baby can now walk, and we can wrap up EC if we're doing that, by supporting through proper environment setup, a really good routine, consistent offerings, and learning the baby's unique timing and unique signals, and teaching certain parts like mounting the potty, clothing manipulation, signs or words to use to signal to us, etc. So if we are just beginning EC or early potty training at 12 months, or when they start to walk, we would do the same. Support with the proper environment, a good routine, put them in cotton pants. We want to teach them certain parts of the process and learn our babies and offer consistently. So same kind of timeline. So again, she said we want to observe the child and what she needs to accomplish, figure out the best way to offer the necessary assistance, and give that assistance through indirect and direct preparation with the purpose of aiding life. I love that. So since the fetus has developed all it needs to function by the time it is born, and then the muscular system develops from there, along with cognition and perception and communication, it makes sense to assist in their growing awareness and development of this control, starting at birth with the first meconium poop. So what indirect and direct preparations will baby need at birth? Well, we're going to talk about these preparations from Mary's report in next week's podcast episode. For now, I would like to personally marvel at the amazing natural development that babies go through starting at conception. And collectively, let's realize that supporting this natural development from birth is our role as parents to aid the life of our babies. We need to bend our minds past the myths and the cultural trends that she mentions and back to nature. How were we perfectly created, and why would we interfere with the natural laws of development by encouraging our babies to be ignorant of their instincts and their developmental needs? And I'll leave you with this quote from Maria Montessori. It is at the early age of 1 month that the child begins to need calls and invitations from the outer world. Repetitions are needed to awaken his interest, to create a cycle of acquaintanceship. So they start to need calls and invitations from the outer world to learn. End quote. So these calls and invitations differ across cultures. In our diapering culture, we give no calls and invitations. We only give one choice. Ignore your instincts and use this diaper as your toilet because we don't know any better. Carrie says, quote, we must give the child the proper information from the beginning. Then it is only a matter of how and where to offer appropriate experiences, end quote. So next week, we'll cover this proper information that we parents are called to give our babies from the beginning within the construct of elimination communication. And after that, we'll cover what Mary calls remedial toilet learning at 2 years old and up in a separate episode. And then we will talk about how to prepare the environment at home and in an infant community or daycare in a later episode. I hope you'll join me for the other 3 parts of this 4-part series. Till then, go to godiaperfree.com/69 to see Mary's report. And also, if you're ready to get my easy start guide or my book today, you can find all of that on the show notes as well. Leave a comment if you have any questions or any comments, or maybe this gave you an aha moment today over there on the blog post. I'm going to leave you with 2 tips from our readers. Anna in Croatia with 3-month-old Blago. Her tip: on every diaper changing, I leave him open with a dry, open diaper. He used to pee and poop in it. I followed you since pregnancy and thought, I'll just wait till summer. But he has digestion problems, a lot of groaning, straining, and frowning before pooping. One day I simply took a container, some random container, put him in position, and he pooped so hard that I almost was frightened. That time he peed also, but we missed our container, which is pretty big. Actually, he still pees on the floor because he pees straight out. That is our story. So she helped to solve her child's digestion problems by holding him in the classic EC position, which is a deep squat, which is developmentally appropriate for elimination at any age. And the second tip, Stephanie, who began at 6 weeks old and has a 19-month-old son. EC is not a straight linear path. There are ups and downs, good days, weeks and months, and bad ones. Be consistent but not rigid, and have all the right tools at hand. As the name of the process indicates, keep the lines of communication open both ways. Over time, introduce new tools and techniques to empower him or her to be independent at whatever developmental stage they're in. And that really speaks to what we're talking about today. What developmental stage are they in, and how can we assist and aid the life of our baby through indirect and direct preparations, which we will talk about next week. I hope you'll join me then. Till later, I'm Andrea Olson at godiaperfree.com, and this has been episode 69 of the Go Diaper Free podcast. See you next time. All right, you guys, so that's it. Please leave a comment below this video with any questions or comments or aha moments that you've gotten from listening to this part of my exploration of Mary's article, and subscribe and hit the bell and I'll let you know when the next video is up. Take care.